Good evening, guys. This is once again Dr. Narayani. Hereby, I am going to teach the module Medical Biochemistry and Medical Nutrition, MBC 120, Unit 4, Nutrition in Clinical Care. So, under Unit 4, we are going to see about what all are the nutrition to be followed in during disease time. Like if you are affected with diabetes mellitus, what nutrition you want to follow? If you have cardiac disease or renal disease or liver disease or gastritis disease or HIV and AIDS or cancer, or if you have tuberculosis, what are the nutrition you want to follow? We are going to see that in this. Next, first one, diabetes mellitus. Diabetes is a disease that results in too much sugar or high blood glucose level. Too much sugar in the blood or high glucose in blood. This diabetes prevents your body from properly absorbing energy from the food what you eat because you are unable to make insulin. Everyone knows that in our body many hormones were produced, and insulin is the hormone produced by pancreas. If it is reduced or produced highly, then it results in diabetes. That is what diabetes mellitus. And there is no cure for diabetes mellitus up to now, but we can undergo for medications to manage the condition in our body. I mean, to maintain the glucose level in our body without getting increasing and decreasing. Just we can maintain. But there may be more chances to increase and decrease this in the blood. Fine. Next, what all are the nutrition this diabetes patient want to intake? Number one, they want to take a carbohydrate source. Number two, they want to add chromium in their food. Then they want to take dietary supplements like this diabetes patients mostly get low vitamins. Low vitamins. If they get low vitamins, there may be increase in the production of this diabetes. So they can take this dietary supplements as vitamin supplements, mineral supplements. Then their food should contain high fiber content because there may be more chances to cause constipation in the diabetes patient. So they want to take fiber content. They want to add fiber content in their food. Then they want to take protein-rich food. Then they want to take simple carbohydrates. For example, potatoes, they have simple carbohydrates. Where sema consists of complex carbohydrates. Then sugar in a small level. Then vitamin D, because of this vitamin D deficiency, there may be more chances to cause other disorders in the diabetes. So these types of food they want to take intake in their food. Fine. Next, nutrition in cardiac conditions. That means some may have heart problems, heart diseases. If the people consist of heart diseases, whatever they want to go for nutrition, they want to follow means number one, they want to control the portion size. That means the diet, the food what they are taking, they want to reduce the portion. They should not take the whole food in the whole plate and just eating. No, they can divide their food into 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 servings, but the portion should be reduced because if the increased portion may result in heart attack, cardiac problem, increase the cardiac. Then they should eat more vegetables and fruits. They want to select whole grains like rice, pasta and wheat in their food. They want to limit unhealthy fat, like they want to reduce butter and margarine intake. Instead, they want to choose low-fat protein sources like milk, yogurt, fish, legumes. They want to reduce sodium content in their food. So these are the nutrition should be followed by the person who is having cardiac diseases. Next, third one, nutrition in a renal condition. If you are having diseases in relation with kidney, renal means kidney. If you are having diseases in relation with the kidney, then what you want to follow, what the nutrients you want to follow. A renal diet is one that is low in sodium, phosphorus, and protein. Kidney, which acts as excretory organ, is it because it it helps in excretion of the waste product. Then so sodium, phosphorus, if we intake in high amount, what happens? It gets stuck in the kidney, so there may be problem in excretion. So if the people having diseases in relation with the kidney, then they want to reduce the intake of sodium, phosphorus, and protein, because this renal diet emphasizes the importance of consuming high quality protein and usually limiting the fluid. Some patients may also need to limit potassium and calcium also. So in addition to sodium, phosphorus, protein, they also want to reduce the intake of calcium too. Next one is liver disease. Some people may have liver disease, whatever the dietary changes they want to take involved in cutting down the amount of animal protein. This will help limit the building up of toxic waste products. So these people, those who are having liver disease, they want to reduce eating animal protein. Then want to increase the intake of carbohydrates to be in proportion with the amount of protein. So how much of protein you eat, you want to take the amount of carbohydrates as higher. Then eat fruits and vegetables and lean proteins such as legumes, poultry products, fishes, but avoid uncooked shellfish. Fine. Taking vitamins and medicines prescribed by your healthcare provider for low blood counts, nerve problems, or nutritional problems from liver diseases. So you want to get the proper prescription of intaking vitamins and medicine from your health advisor. Then limiting salt intake, because salt in the diet may worsen fluid buildup and swelling in the liver. Already we have studied that if enlarged liver or enlarged liver, it may result in some disorder, right? So those who are having liver disease, they want to follow these dietary changes in their food. Next, gastritis and peptic ulcer disease. Gastritis means what? It is a superficial erosion and inflammation of the gastric mucosa, or you can say there is an inflammation in the gastric tube. It can be either or acute or chronic, where peptic ulcers or deeper erosions and ulceration. Gastritis results in peptic ulcer. Okay? Gastritis condition is the initial condition where the inflammation present in gastric mucosa, and if it goes deeply, then it results in peptic ulcer. This ulcerations may extend through the muscularis layer of the gastric or duodenal mucosa. So gastritis is the first condition which causes inflammation and it results in peptic ulcer. So what are the nutrients? What are the nutrients considerations they want to follow? Next, they want to take a high fiber diet. They want to take high fiber diet. So they want to choose the food which consists of high fiber content. For example, wheat, which consists of high fiber content. And they should not take more also, because that also results in some other disorders. So they want to eat the limitation with high fiber diet, because to reduce duodenal ulcer. Then diets which high in vitamin A, because vitamin A, it is very helpful to the people who is having peptic ulcer. Then tea, they can take tea because several studies shows that regular green tea consumption is associated with 40 to 50% lower risk for gastritis. Then they should avoid alcohol. Then avoiding coffee because this stimulates acid secretion in the stomach that also improve or increase this gastric or peptic ulcer. So those people having gastritis or peptic ulcer disease, they want to consider this to be followed in their food. Next, HIV patients and cancer patients. What is meant by AIDS? Everyone knows that AIDS means acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a sexually transmitted disease caused by human immunodeficiency virus. While cancer is a disease in which abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and destroy the body tissue, result in death. So AIDS is a sexually transmitted disease, while cancer is a abnormal cell division in the body. It may be caused by virus, or it may be caused by because of genetic. Next, the nutrition consideration by HIV patients. They want to eat a diet which is high in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and eggs. So, if they are eating carbohydrates, so they want to take vegetables and fruits in a rich manner. Choosing lean, low-fat sources of protein. Then limit sweet, soft drinks and foods with added sugar. Then including proteins, carbohydrates, and a little good food fat in all meals. And so this is the nutrition want to consider by the HIV patients. Next, nutritional considerations by cancer patients. They want to eat the nutrient-dense and plant-based diet. That means they should not eat simply as a carbohydrate. So they want to eat all the nutrients in a want a record proportion, and they can focus on vegetables, greens, instead of eating meat. They want to, cancer patients, they want to avoid the meat products, poultry products. They want to focus on plant-based. Then they want to quit smoking. They should not smoke because cancer is smoking is also one of the causing agent for cancer. Then maintaining a healthy weight, they should avoid alcohol. Then they can get essential nutrients like protein, carbohydrates, fats, and water. They want to intake macronutrients in the correct proportion than the micronutrients because they want to focus on plant-based diet as the common, so they can get vitamins and micronutrients from the plant-based diet, and also they want to add macronutrients in the record proportion. Right? Next, nutrition in tuberculosis. The tuberculosis patients want to follow some specific nutrition. What is that? They want to eat leafy, dark-colored greens like kale and spinach for their high iron and vitamin B content. Then everyone knows what is tuberculosis, right? So they want to follow specific nutrients. Plenty of whole grains like whole wheat, pastas, breads, and cereals. Then they want to eat antioxidant-rich vegetables and fruits. Then they want to focus on unsaturated fats like vegetable or olive oil instead of butter. Then they should skip tobacco because tobacco smoking also causes for tuberculosis. Then they should avoid alcohol because it can add the risk of liver damage from some of the drugs used to treat tea. Then should limit the coffee and other caffeinated. Limit refined products like sugar, white bread, and white bread. Avoid high fat, high cholesterol, red meat, and instead look upon leaner protein sources like poultry, beans, tofu, and fish is one of the lean protein. So they can eat fish, but they should avoid red meat. Right? Next, nutrition in inpatient care. I mean, the patients were in the hospital who is unable to eat the food. So that nutrition is called is divided into two types of nutrition. One is enteral nutrition and another one is parental nutrition. What is that? Enteral nutrition refers to any method of eating that causes the gastrointestinal tract to deliver part or all of a person's caloric requirement. So the food is sent to the gastrointestinal tract directly. It can be given using mouth diet, oral diet, or it can be used given by tube, given through tube, because they are unable to eat. So if they feel unable to eat, they can give us a tube feeding. So when patients have problem with eating or digestion, nutrition will be provided with artificial food. This artificial food can include a normal oral diet or given through mouth, or the use of liquid supplements or delivery of these liquid supplements by the use of tube. I have attached the photo image here so you can clearly understand what is enteral and parental nutrition. Next, I said the other type of nutrition given in the hospital is parental nutrition. If the patient's gut cannot be used to absorb nutrition, we are having gut here. This gut, sometimes if the patients cannot absorb nutrition, for example, they may have stroke. So if they have stroke, their gut will not work. So the food should be directly given to the bloodstream. Then only they may survive. So these types of the patients can use this parental nutrition. Then it must be delivered into the patient's bloodstream by bypassing the gut. So the food is directly given to the bloodstream, not through the gut. Where enteral nutrition even has been given through the tube or through the gastric. Then parental nutrition is slowly pumped into the bloodstream through a drip. This nutrition is slowly pumped into a bloodstream through a drip. Or they just mostly, if you see the heart patients, the heart patients were given with this parental nutrition. They just attached the tube in the right part of the chest. They mostly choose the large blood vessels. So in that they attach the tube. So through that tube it reaches the bloodstream. I mean through blood vessels it reaches the bloodstream. So the food is given as a liquid drip, right? Like glucose drip. Next, you can observe the picture here. Enteral and parental nutrition. And the enteral nutrition, they have inserted a tube, that is gastric tube, which reaches the gastric organ. So the food reaches to the gut. Whether parental nutrition, you can see the tube has attached to the blood vessel. So the food directly enters to the bloodstream. So this is what two type of nutrition which is given in the hospital. That means in care patients, ICU ward patients, they can given this type of nutrition. So hereby we have studied the types of nutrition, like the nutrition especially in patient care or clinical care. What all are the nutrition following in clinical care? That is during diabetes mellitus, cardiac disease, renal disease, liver disease, peptic ulcers or gastritic disease, nutrition in HIV, AIDS, cancer patients, then tuberculosis disease. So these patients want to follow which type of nutrition we have seen in this. I hope you have understand well. Thank you so much.